How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Just Noise Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm your host, Daniel.
And today we're doing a podcast.
Woo!
If you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button and hit the like button. And also comment what you guys want us to talk about next week. As you're going to see throughout this video, we took your suggestions from the comments last week, and we're talking about it this week. So let's get to the podcast.
Let's go.
Okay, so on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the top 5 most disturbing urban legends.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's get into the first one.
Let's get into it. The first one, I actually talked about this before, but it's the urban legend of Polybius. Do you remember this one? It's like an arcade game.
Oh, yes.
So if you don't know the urban legend of Polybius, it was an arcade game in, I think, Oregon. And a lot of people remember them playing this game in arcades in Oregon, and they would get like super addicted, but then they would also have like psychological issues after playing this game. Like they would go insane pretty much. And then every now and then there was like security footage of men in black suits going to like run tests on the game and then just leaving. So like, and nobody knew why, but then apparently just one day out of nowhere, all the Polybius machines just vanished.
Suspicious.
And nobody knows where they went. Nobody knows like what kind of tests they were doing, but that's the urban legend of Polybius.
I know that a lot of kids reported saying that they had a hard time sleeping after.
Right. So it was like psychological and sociological effects, such as amnesia, stress, and nightmares, all from playing this game.
You know, it's so interesting, like back then,
Yeah.
how kids, there wasn't many entertainment systems at home.
Right.
So they would have to go to the arcade.
Yeah.
If it's true, right,
Mhm.
the government knew that they needed to have like some kind of game there that they could
Yeah.
monitor. But think about this, when you look at your iPhone now and like computer games and PlayStations, we can all be getting tested on, and we have no idea.
Right.
It could just be like remotely done.
And you know, I'm not gonna rule like this wasn't a real thing, because back then we didn't have like the social media that people could just be like, oh, have you played Polybius, and like post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like they wouldn't really have crazy record of it.
It would just be like word of mouth.
Right.
Yeah, their word versus our word.
So Polybius might have been out there.
Comment if you guys have played Polybius or have any family members that have played Polybius.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see.
Okay, so the next urban legend is the black-eyed children.
What is that?
So it's
We've never
unsettling.
talked about that, right?
No. It's
Oh.
unsettling children with entirely black eyes who appear at the doors of homes or approach cars, often asking for help to permission to come inside.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like kids that have completely black eyes, but they usually come to your door or your car, and they like literally beg you to come inside.
When you say black eye, as if they got punched in the face, black eye?
No, as if like their pupil is like
Oh,
enlarged.
got it.
Yeah. So their behavior is unnerving and insistently persistent, causing intense feelings of dread for those they encounter. So they really try to make you feel bad for them. And they try to like force themselves like into the home or the car.
That is so scary.
So they try to use guilt against you.
It kind of reminds me of The Grudge, right? The Grudge, didn't he have black eyes?
That sounds like a grudge thing.
It does, right?
Yeah. Apparently, what people have described these children as who have encountered them, they have pale skin and unnatural demeanor. So they're very kind of almost awkward in a way, but they're very persistent on how they act.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So the legend originated in the 1990s, and apparently it was on online forums of people like saying like, be careful of these kids, like as if it was a thing going around.
Oh, wow.
So after that, it just became like a modern folklore story.
Yeah.
But there were forums of people warning others that this has happened to others. So it's kind of like, what was it called? Skinwalkers?
Uh-huh.
How people like say like they've encountered them.
Yeah. It's weird when people, like multiple people come forward saying that they experienced something that's not supposed to be real.
Especially in the 90s, when I feel like online forums weren't really abused in crazy ways.
Yeah.
But obviously they could be, but it's just a very
it's not like
unsettling
Reddit
thing.
now.
Right. It's not
Yeah.
like Reddit now.
Right. Okay, these next urban legends that I want to talk about, what's unique about the 3 that I picked here, some of them that I'm going to mention today were proven to be real. And
What?
It's been like an urban legend, and people are like, I wonder if this is true. Turns out they were true.
Are you serious?
So the first one, the flying man. Now, in 1982, Larry Walters was a truck driver. He had a passion for flying.
Okay.
He took to the skies in unusual ways, but the most unusual way was that he strapped himself to a chair and had weather balloons. All these balloons that would lift him in the air.
What?
Yeah. He traveled 16,000 feet in the air. And then, obviously, when you have something in the air, the airplanes and like flight control, everyone's like, what is that? Unidentified.
Yeah.
So they end up saying like, hey, look, that guy's flying in the air. We got to get him down. So what they do is they're able to bring him slowly to start coming down.
Okay.
But what's really weird is that he has no form of aviation training. It's all just like self-taught from movies like Top Gun and like. So as he's flying, he's in the air. Power lines are obviously in the air too. His chair got caught on one.
Oh no.
So because of that, it actually kind of saved his life.
Huh?
Because it stopped him from going up higher.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I don't know, though, how he got 16,000 feet in the air.
That's crazy. And he's just in a chair with balloons?
Yeah. He's just in a chair with balloons. And what's crazy is that, you know, when they got him, like when they got him to come down,
Yeah.
they're not really sure what to charge him with, punish
Right.
him with. They're like, we should take away his flying license. And then they're like, well, he doesn't have
He doesn't have one.
That's why it's been such an urban legend, like whatever happened to that guy, if it was real or not, but it was real.
Oh.
And nothing happened to him.
Wow. Way to go, man.
Moving on to the next one, the killer elevator.
The killer. Oh, no. I don't like
So
where
in
this is going.
2003, a tragic elevator accident in Texas highlighted the crucial importance of elevator safety.
Okay.
Now, the incident involved a 35-year-old surgical resident, basically a surgeon,
Yeah.
who was entering a hospital elevator when the doors unexpectedly began to close. Unfortunately, they did not stop,
Oh.
trapping him between the doors.
Oh.
So the half of his body was inside the elevator and the other half was on the outside.
Oh.
Everyone saw the situation happen. They run over to him, try to press the emergency stop button, but the elevator's malfunctioning wiring prevented it from working in the correct amount of time
my
to save
gosh.
him. So he, you know, it's going up and down, and his half of his body's just getting.
Oh my god.
And
That's like one of my biggest fears.
because of this incident, this elevated elevator safety across the country. But what was scary is multiple incidents happened later,
What?
even after they secured it
In that elevator?
in that elevator in that hospital.
Oh my god.
So that's why the urban legend is that it was a
Killer elevator.
killer elevator.
You gotta think. Once that happens once, especially in a hospital where you're supposed to be saving lives, you're gonna make sure that thing never happens again.
You would think.
And you're telling me that it happened multiple times after that?
Yeah. So
What are they doing?
I don't know. My whole thing is, how do you get stuck in between, you know, the doors?
Yeah. They have to be closing really fast.
Yeah, that's why it almost seems like the elevator was different.
It was
I've never
haunted.
been in an elevator situation where I thought that door was going to smush me. I always thought the
Yeah.
door is going to open up right when I tap it, you know?
Right. And when you think about elevator doors closing, they're not closing fast. So these doors must have been like shutting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaky.
What's even crazier, right, is
Yeah.
that the elevator knew to go up a certain amount to hit them, down a certain amount to hit them. Right? It was just like
Right.
always in that same level going up and down. It wasn't like, let's go to the first floor all the way up to the 5th floor. Let's go back to the first floor.
Yeah,
There's
something
always
wrong
just
with
like
that
right here.
elevator. There's something sketchy about that.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. The urban legend about how bugs live in us.
Huh?
The urban legend
Right.
is there's bugs that live inside of us. While the idea may seem insane,
Okay.
but it also seems very plausible.
It seems plausible, but do I want to believe that? No.
Okay, let's start off with this.
Okay.
Itch mites. Tiny parasites that are often invisible to the naked eye. These mites can catch a ride on contaminated sheets. So, like, they literally live on bed sheets.
Okay.
And they will bury themselves into your skin. And once you notice it, it's already too late. You're already suffering with, like, an itchy rash that won't go away.
Oh. So it's like a tiny, like, microscopic bug that causes us to have those rashes and itches.
Yeah, so the next type of bug is the parasitic worm.
Okay.
Parasitic worms, they
Okay.
can swim beneath your skin.
Oh.
And sometimes they even get into your eyes.
Okay, like an actual, okay, so they're like an actual parasite.
Yeah, so these worms can actually cause visible distress. Like your body could really be going through it because of these worms.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it does cause death.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it feels like having a parasite in your eye. Do you just feel something like crawling around in your eye?
I think so. And what's crazy is that, you know, these situations require like medical attention.
Yeah.
And the surgeries and procedures are some of the most uncomfortable procedures to be done to remove them.
Really?
So that's what's so scary is that you really don't know how they get in you.
Yeah. Especially, I guess, if you have a parasite in between your skin,
Yeah.
how do you get that out?
I know.
That's got to be like a crazy procedure.
So this idea of bugs living inside of us
Uh-huh.
was a urban legend for a long time.
Okay.
Until recently, they realized that, you know, parasites and these, you know, worms could
Yeah.
be living in people.
And they're technically bugs.
Yeah. They are bugs. So that's why it's important to clean your sheets, you know, like make sure that you're sanitizing your home really well because you never know what's going to get inside.
Right. Because you can't see him either.
No. Another urban legend that, come to find out, is now true.
What?
Organ harvesting. Organ trafficking is a dire
yeah.
issue driven by the urgent need for organ transplants and the limitations of legal channels. Although urban legends of travelers waking up without a kidney are false, the true situation is equally disturbing. Desperation leads people to the black market, where the recipients pay large sums to bypass wait times and regulations. However, the donors often are refugees.
Oh.
Unemployed immigrants and impoverished families suffer the most. These vulnerable individuals are lured with promises of money for their organs or blood, but the reality is grim. The compensation often falls short, and post-operation, the donors are left weak at the mercy of the traffickers.
That's horrible.
This has happened in many cases. Vice News did a series on talking to people that were victims of this. And what these people do is they say, hey, we're going to pay you $300,000 for a kidney or something like that. So they pay the money.
Yeah.
They say, like, look, we're going to give you this money. It's in an account.
Okay.
And when you're done, we'll give you access to the account.
Oh my gosh.
And what's happening is a lot of these people are doing it, and then when they try to access the money, it's not there.
That's terrible.
It's really sad. And that's why for the longest time, this was an urban legend. Like, no one would ever do such a thing. Come to find out, though, it's happening.
On the black market.
Black market. And it's found in, like,
dark web
and third world countries, right?
Yeah.
It's not very common in the United States, right? But it does happen.
That's so scary.
I know, it's really scary.
Do you know what also is really scary? Like, you know, everybody knows that the dark web exists and how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
How have nobody, like, tried to shut that down yet?
I know. It is a really bizarre concept to have a web that's not regulated, where all the bad things in the world goes down. Why don't we shut that one thing down?
What is going on with that?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
But I also don't want to be the one to go try to shut down anything.
Yeah.
I don't need to put my life on the line. You guys do whatever you want. It's a crazy world out there. I am sorry.
Okay, moving on. We need to talk about some crazy news in the movie world.
All right.
Robert Downey Jr. is back. The Russo brothers are back.
Let's go.
Marvel is back.
Marvel's back.
The Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. are going to save the MCU, and I'm so excited.
I mean, I think the world's excited. I saw Marvel posted this, the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. on Instagram at Hall H, and the video has over 300 million views in the first day.
Oh my god.
I mean, talk about a moment in history of significance, right? Where a whole world can come together and be like, whoa, that just happened. I mean, ESPN posted it. Everyone, even not in the Marvel universe,
right?
Like MLB, whatever, they're all coming together to talk about this moment. I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked that it went down the way it did. But it's so cool to see how important Robert Downey Jr. is to people.
Yeah, it shows the impact that the Russos and Robert Downey Jr. have.
Yeah.
Because it is insane what they have accomplished with the MCU.
It really is.
But I also want to talk about something I've talked about this past week about how they could bring Robert Downey Jr. in as Dr. Doom. And there's actually 2 comics they could be basing this story off of. Not completely copying this comic, but they could take snippets from this comic, and it could be possible.
And as we know, right, the Marvel universe, cinematic universe, does get inspiration from the comics. Yeah, it's not going to be word for word because, who wants that?
When has it ever been?
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants a little something different to be surprised, and that's what Marvel does best.
Yeah, so the first comic is actually a what-if comic, and it's called Ironman, Demon in an Armor. And this is where we see a universe where Victor Von Doom is actually roommates with Tony Stark in college instead of a Reed Richards. Now, we see in the comic that they don't really get along very well. So then Victor Von Doom decides to almost trick Tony into working on this project, and they end up working on this project together. And then Victor Von Doom creates this device that actually causes Tony and Victor to switch minds. So Victor's mind is in Tony, and Tony's mind is in Victor. So technically, everybody sees Tony Stark, but in reality, it's actually Victor Von Doom's mind on the inside. So Victor Von Doom is controlling Tony Stark, having all the riches, all the access to all this technology as Tony Stark.
It is really interesting, too. The idea of Victor Von Doom, huge ego, right? Also pretty smart. And then you have Tony Stark, huge ego, very smart. The dynamic of them two together is really funny to see. It would be really interesting to see how that clash would go down.
Right. Yeah, so this could be a way that they bring Robert Downey Jr. in, because technically he's still Tony Stark, and we know Robert Downey Jr. is most likely going to play a version of Tony Stark, like a variant of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
but it could be possible that it's Victor Von Doom inside of Tony Stark. There's another comic called Infamous Iron Man. In this comic, Dr. Doom actually takes the mantle as Iron Man. So he uses the Iron Man suit while still having his magical powers. So technically, he's like this ultimate overpowered Dr. Doom that's using an Iron Man suit, having the technology of an Iron Man suit, but also having his magic at the same time.
If you ask me, the first comic book you talked about seems the most plausible.
Right.
And my whole thing, guys, is like, if Robert Downey Jr. shows up as Victor Von Doom and he comes across Peter Parker, or he comes across Sam Wilson, or he comes across Vision, or he comes across Chris Evans variant Captain America, or just anyone in general in the MCU that has had relationship with Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., there's got to be some addressing that. Like, Peter Parker sees a variant of Victor Von Doom that looks like Robert Downey Jr., he has to be like, oh my gosh, it's Mr. Stark. Like, it would just be really weird if they just glance over that. There needs to be some acknowledgement, and I think the only way to do that is by having him be the whole Dr. Doom went inside Tony Stark's brain kind of thing. And I think they do that, right? I think they go for that route, close out, this journey of the multiverse. And when the Fantastic Four really start to pick up again, like the very big, we're going to restart with the mutant era, right? I think then you go for the hardcore, recast of Dr. Doom. Yeah. The Doom story that everybody wants from the very beginning. But I think in this case with the multiverse, it makes a lot of sense to have Robert Downey Jr. be Victor Von Doom. Right. Who is a variant of Tony Stark.
Yeah. And I will say this, when we talked about it earlier in the week, the Russo brothers did like the video.
They
liked the video.
They liked it.
So it's plausible.
Maybe they just were like, we liked it because it's so bad. Not a good idea.
It could be that way.
Or maybe they're like, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We love the Russo brothers.
Yes. But I'm excited.
If you just look at the track record the Russo brothers had, it is unbelievable how many amazing movies they've made. And they have yet to let down Marvel. And I really, truly believe that their love for the Marvel Universe, their love for the comics, their love for these characters will always make their movies triumphant and just do well because they have so much care and knowledge for these characters that will always be better than most directors.
Right. And I also want to talk about some news about coming movies like Fantastic Four, maybe some Deadpool and Wolverine. But apparently, according to some people on Twitter, that Fantastic Four First Steps will actually introduce us to the fact that in all of the MCU, all the universes, all the Earths, there's only one Galactus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I guess that makes sense. I think in the comics, there was only one.
Yeah, so there's also some news that when Hugh Jackman comes back again, possibly for Doomsday and Secret Wars, he will also have a new suit to go along with it.
Oh, get that money. Sell more toys.
Yeah, and apparently, this is what people are saying. When Monica Rambeau, we see the post-credit scene in the Marvels, that she's with Beast. People are saying that where she is actually Earth 1005.
I saw that. I really wonder if that can make sense because the Beast we see in Deadpool is the young Beast from First Class.
But technically, young Beast from First Class is Beast.
That's true, but he aged very fast.
But it's not like we're in the time of First Class. We're probably in the time of after Days of Futures Past. Technically, it could be older Beast.
I'm just going off of, is it Deadpool 2?
Uh-huh.
Is that when he goes like, gosh, Fox, we can't afford better cameos? And then all the X-Men open the door and they close it?
Right.
Was that Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
I mean, that was 5 years ago. And Beast there looked like young Beast.
Right. That is a good point. I guess it could still be possible, though.
It could still be possible.
Yeah.
For the sake of bringing the MCU together with the 1005 Earth.
Right.
It does make sense that they might be trying to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, for me, I would love to see Kelsey Grammer come back as Beast and fight alongside Logan, Hugh Jackman.
I also saw this cool thing. I don't know how factual this is. Apparently now in the MCU, the F word has been said 119 times.
Oh, all because of Deadpool?
There's been one in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 118 in Deadpool.
When? Yeah, I remember Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that's Chris Pratt says it, right?
Chris Pratt says it, right, when they're trying to get in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently, according to leakers on Twitter, this is all, I think, wishful thinking, though.
Okay.
That who could show up in Doomsday. So first, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
We have Spider-Man.
Okay.
But here it says Spider-Men. So possibly multiple.
Okay.
We have the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts, the Young Avengers, Doctor Strange, Clea, Hulk, She-Hulk, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, the Shuri version, Sam Wilson's Captain America, Captain Marvel, Monica, Moon Knight, Daredevil, Hawkeye, Star-Lord, Loki, Thor, White Vision, Wanda, Agatha, Ant-Man, War Machine, and Pepper.
Anything's on the table, right?
Yeah.
Because when it was Kang Dynasty, Avengers Kang Dynasty,
Yeah.
there was rumored that there were 70 MCU main characters that were going to pop up in that movie.
Ooh.
It was supposed to have the most cameos and Marvel characters in one movie.
That's crazy knowing that Secret Wars was coming after that.
I know. And I'm sure that Secret Wars is
Yeah.
going to be way bigger.
Right.
But they're just talking about Avengers 5 at that point.
Gosh, can you imagine the interaction between a Tony Stark, Victor Von Doom, and Pepper Potts?
My whole thing was Tony Stark, variant of Victor Von Doom, interacting with Peter Parker.
Right. That would be, those two interactions are going to be really sad.
Yeah. Now let's move on. I want to talk about the cameos from Deadpool and Wolverine. And I wanted to talk about this towards the end of the podcast because I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody that hasn't seen it. So let's just go through this, okay? Okay, so in the movie, there's a lot of cameos and a lot of unexpected cameos. So let's just start from the beginning, okay? So I won't talk about any cameo that was revealed in the trailers, but
Okay.
let's talk about the ones that were surprises on screen.
Yeah.
Happy Hogan.
Yes. Big surprise.
I think Logan's body from Logan, the
Mm.
skeletal adamantium.
Yeah.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Would be the next
that was
one.
a big one.
I think all the characters at Cassandra Nova's base were all revealed.
Yeah.
Then we would go to Daphne Keene, Elektra, Blade, Gambit, 100B15,
Yeah. I guess all the Deadpools.
all the Deadpools. So there was a lot of cameos. And what I really appreciate, and I hope Marvel can learn from this, is that
Oh, Henry Cavill.
oh yeah, Henry Cavill. I forgot. What I hope Marvel can learn from this is that it was so interesting how they used the cameos. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, let's plop them in. Like, oh my gosh, it's so and so.
Right.
It carried the story forward, and like in every great story, it's all about the movement forward, not like any wasted time. Everything kept helping develop the story better. Even Johnny Storm's death showed Cassandra Nova's strength, right? Then we see Gambit and Elektra and Blade, and they all carry the story forward and not
Right.
only helped their own personal stories and their legacy, but it improved Deadpool and Wolverine in a way that, it brought a sense of family and unity and Avengers, X-Men, come together, unite moment. And it was so cool to see all the cameos, how it all played out. And I really think moving forward, if Marvel can do cameos more like that, where it is very meaningful and story based, it will make the experience better, even if there's leaks of the cameos appearing.
Right.
Even though we may have known about Gambit possibly coming in, and then even Daphne Keene coming in, it was still meaningful because it was so well done with the story.
Yeah.
As long as the story is good, that is something that can't be leaked.
Right.
The story of what is going to happen, how they incorporate it, that will never be ruined.
Yeah. They did a very good job on playing the story out instead of just popping them in, like you said.
I have to say, though, in terms of wow factor, that Chris Evans cameo, I don't think Marvel has been able to keep something under wraps so well.
Right.
That cameo is insane.
Yeah.
Especially that they filmed that in the void.
Right. So it was in the public.
Yeah, unless they knew that one was not shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I guess that could have been in studio.
I will say this. I don't know about you guys, everyone that watched Wolverine and Deadpool. Were you guys hoping that the X-Men would show up?
Oh, 100%.
I was kind of shocked they didn't. I really thought Halle Berry and everyone.
James Marsden,
Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Especially when he starts going Storm, Jean, Scott really wanted me to wear my suit.
Yeah.
I definitely thought they were at least going to be in a flashback.
I know.
And there was going to be a flashback of what that Wolverine went through.
Yeah. I'm really shocked. I was sitting there, I was looking at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, the movie's almost over. The X-Men aren't here yet.
I know. If you were to pick 3 cameos, who was your favorite? Top 3.
Okay, well,
in no order.
Okay, Chris Evans.
Okay.
Blade.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
If Daphne Keene wasn't revealed in the trailer, I would have picked Daphne Keene.
Right.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked they'd let her slip in the trailer.
I know. I think I would pick Johnny Storm.
Okay.
Gambit. I think Henry Cavill.
Oh.
I mean, even though it was so short,
yeah,
it's so cool to see Henry Cavill be a Wolverine.
He does seem like a good Wolverine.
Yeah. And going off of what you talked about last week, how Henry Cavill will be the 616 Wolverine. He will be the Wolverine.
You think so?
Well, that you were telling me. You said it's possible that he is the next Wolverine after Hugh Jackman.
It's possible, but I
Right.
didn't say that he is.
Okay, well, I saw like he could be.
Yeah.
Right, and he could be the Wolverine in 616 right now,
Oh.
and maybe they were testing people's reaction to it.
Yeah.
I saw some people talking about that, and I was like, that's an interesting take because everybody went crazy when they saw him.
I do think that he's here to stay.
Yeah.
Because when Deadpool says, like, we'll treat you better than the guys down the street,
Right.
it kind of implies that, hey, like, welcome to the team. We're going to treat you better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Now that you put it like that, yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that.
And when you look at all the Deadpool, I mean, all the Wolverine variants we see, they're all played by Hugh Jackman except him. Except
Right.
the Henry Cavill version.
Yeah.
So if there was to be another Wolverine, it seems like it'd have to be Henry Cavill
That is
because
true.
there was no other options.
You're right.
Deadpool, on the other hand, we saw there's a lot.
Yeah.
But when you're telling me that he's trying to find the best Wolverine,
Uh-huh.
and he literally traveled the whole universe, all the different universes to find the best one, and the only time he could find one that wasn't Hugh Jackman, it was Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so we could double down on it and say
That is good.
it's probably him. Just how like we saw Kang,
Yeah.
right? In Quantumania, all the Kangs are played by Jonathan Majors. You really can't recast him because they shot themselves in the foot by saying, look at all the Kangs. These are all the variants.
Jonathan
They're all him.
Majors. Yeah, but now all of them aren't Hugh Jackman.
Right.
Oh my gosh. You know, it would have been so funny if they made the comic accurate one, like the short one, if they'd made it Daniel Radcliffe. He's pretty short, right?
I don't know.
I don't think he's 5'4", but he's definitely below like 6 foot. For sure.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that Henry Cavill really got that like vibe down.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like very believable, like a really
Ooh.
brute strength Wolverine.
when he did like the reloading the arms and that's how he got his claws out. Dude, that was so cool.
It's so funny because in Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
Henry Cavill before he fights,
Yeah,
he does that thing.
He's like popular for that. It's like he calls it like reloading his arms.
It's so hokey, but
Yeah.
it's so good.
But it works.
It works for him.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button. Also, comment what you guys want us to talk about next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Also, if you guys like golf, I hope our golf video is live. It's on this channel. And basically, it's a golf episode where we play golf, but we also talk about 9 true crime murder mysteries. I know you guys have wanted us to talk about scary stories again. And maybe that will be a good way to listen to some scary stories and enjoy them. But have the lightness of golf outdoors, not so dark and grim, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys enjoy that combination, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on TikTok, and we'll see you guys next podcast on Monday on all your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. God bless you guys. See ya.
Love ya.